My first time in Iceland, and I've really enjoyed Reykjavik. It's really a pleasure to be at Mjolnir. I've known people that came here before. It's really exciting to be here. And I'm happy to share this with you. This is one of my very favorite techniques. I'm going to show it. I'm going to do all my stuff here with my student Uni, who also came out here tonight. So hard as I can. I started jiu-jitsu in 1997, although I had a 7-year break in there. So I started in sort of like an early time period when we would actually do this. So we would start from knees. Now, all the bloggers have given us enough shame about getting and pushing fights from here that we don't do this anymore. You shouldn't do this anymore. Somebody should pick guard and you should roll, because this position isn't something you'll do in a fight, MMA, a competition, or anything like that. But this is where this concept started for me. A friend and I were trying to figure out, okay, what's the best way to take a guy down when you tie up, which is right hand on the neck and left hand on the elbow. What was the best way to take somebody down from here? And there's just a discovery we made that evolved through the course of my game, and I'm going to share how I turned into the guard pass that I turned into. I've seen other people teach it, and I'll give you a couple of examples to check out if I can think about it and post them. But we're going to start like this. We're going to start super old school. Right hand on the neck, left hand on the elbow. I'm going to do this. I'm going to create a particular stance, a particular base with my feet and knees. And that's this right here. So the position is, since I have his neck and I want to keep his neck, that's that hand's job. The other hand goes to the floor and the opposite foot. So the other hand to the floor, opposite foot. Those are the front two posts of a triangle. And then I go to here. Okay? That stance is going to show up in the whole rest of the moves that we do here today. So first I create this sort of backwards triangle. And the other way to think of this is that the front two posts is like a slingshot. Okay? The front two posts are through what my back foot comes in. Okay? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my foot on his hip and hook it. And the discovery we made early on was when you knock somebody's quads off their calves, they fall over. So this right here. So that's the end of their foundation, and they will subsequently fall. So from here, I'm just looking for that. That's what I want, the shape I want his body to take. So here's my front two posts, and my back one comes in across to the cross hip, and I push him over, and then I ride it over to knee on belly. This is the first movement we're going to do. It's going to lead into a couple of things. So again, one hand has the neck, the other hand's on the floor. The other foot is in front, and those are the front 2 points of a three-pointed triangle, so my other leg is back. I hook his hip here, and just like a running start, I can push off this one. And I'm getting that to happen. I'm getting this to happen, and that's when his face falls apart. Last time, opposite hand from the neck goes to the floor, three-pointed base. Don't get in the habit of showing the guy the top of your head. That's a quick guillotine. So I'm looking at his chest, I'm showing him my forehead so it's not an instant guillotine. You're here, hook, and push. It doesn't have to happen fast. Hook, and I push off this foot. I'm a little bit kicking with this one, but just as much from this leg here. And then I ride it up. Let's try that movement first. I'm gonna clap. 3, 2, 1. Everybody looks really good with this. There is, actually, wait, there is some temptation when I first show this for people to set up here, and go ahead and type, yep. And maybe they feel stronger with their right leg, or maybe they just think it's closer, so people start doing this. So as long as you know it's not that. It is this back foot. Think of the front two posts as the posts of a slingshot, and the back foot's what's coming through, and that's going to serve you with the rest of these as well. So now let's talk about this. Let's say I'm in your butterfly guard. Okay. I set this up entirely the same way, and you're going to find this a more practical position that you actually see a lot more frequently. Okay? Where I like to control his posture so he doesn't disappear on me when I'm doing it. I set the same foundation up, and the only new piece now is a lot of guys are going to have some grip on your arm. If I'm wearing gi, he's going to grip my gi, and if it's no gi, he's going to like hang off my arm frequently. And all I'm trying to do here is open Pac-Man's mouth right here. This right here. So I'm trying to open that, and then I'm going to put my shin in. Okay, so from here, if I can open it like this, that's one way to do it, because he's on my arm. I move my arm, I open Pac-Man's mouth, my shin goes in, and I can run it around. Okay, very simple movement, same movement you just did. The other reason I like this is because when I set this base up, I'm actually stealing hookable things from him. So a lot of people are like, with the butterfly, they're trying to hook my inner thighs. And when I take especially one away, it makes them want to move. So the other way that you can get Pac-Man's Pac-Man's mouth to open is if they follow you. It opens for a second. It opens for a second here. Unless they put their hands down, but then they're not fighting you in that moment. Most people don't do that. You might when you rep, but just so you know that, don't do that to help each other. Hold on, and then scoot in. There's a second when it's perfect timing just to put that shin right in Pac-Man's mouth. So from here, if I could either open it and go over, ride it over, or if my timing's really good and I set this up and I back away and he goes to follow, there's that moment where it opens. Or at least that it's not glued. So even if your timing's a little off, I find you'll still make it in. Okay. So same thing here. I'm like stealing one of my knees away from that. He wants that. He wants to hook that. So yeah, he follows. That's one of the times that this opens. Or just open your arm, like so. Put my shin in. And same thing, I'm trying to knock him sideways off his base. I got this question a couple times. I do use my arm a little bit too. It's not all foot. I ride it right over to knee on belly. Good practice. And in knee and belly. A good one. So don't take your person over into a bad position. Let's train the way we want to use it, right? So don't do all this work only to like pop off and have no weight, have no control in the space. Land here, so your foot that's not knee and belly is in the shoulder line, as much like sort of out of reach as possible. And that's more like the position you want to end up in. So last time, just nice for you guys. Same setup here, and yeah, that could be my trigger or this. But I come in, I knock them over, I ride it over. If you're trying to take care of your partner, a lot of people do when they're repping, and you want to put most of your weight on your fist, that'll spare their stomach. That's the reason sometimes people, do the whole thing only to have like a side mount. Take knee and belly. Let's try it. 3, 2, 1. We did it first. We're gonna go back and forth a little bit and scrub that together so it's all one thing. He's gonna be in my closed guard. Let's look at this from a different place. I'm gonna give you another place. So this motion, this idea of riding to the top, we're gonna do it from a couple places. All right. So I'm going to encourage you to do 2 things when you go rep. And the 2 things are, first, I'm pulling him down. He pushes off my hips, rockets up. Now, when somebody does this and they get a lot of posture in the guard, I'm a smaller guy, I'm smaller than my opponents most of the time I've been training. When someone's pushing down on my hips so I can't bump sweep, like we know that when their energy goes that way, I should think bump sweep. But if I can't bump sweep because his hands are on my stomach, so push away, yeah, and I can't do that, get up, right? I've been a smaller guy. If you don't have to hang on the bottom, get up, right? I don't want someone on top of me, regardless of size, my size, their size, anyway. So if I'm pulling him down, and he sits up, and I should be thinking bump sweep, but I feel the kickstands are good, his kickstands are so good that I'm not going to be able to sit up. What I can do is technical stand up. I put my elbow down, put my foot down, and get up. Okay? So what I would encourage you to do is when you rep, that's the first move, do it twice. Do that first move 2 times. I pull, he rockets up. I can't do a bump sweep, so I go elbow and foot, and then open up my hand, honestly. To get your leg out, if you have trouble getting your leg out, it's the first time you've done this movement, to get your leg out, it can be really it can be really awkward, okay? So one thing that I find helps my students when we do this is to really turn your chest to the floor. So when I get up and I really turn my chest to the floor, that turns my hips. And your legs should come out nice and easy. I actually turn my chest and hips to the floor. Your legs should come out nice and easy. So that's the first movement. The second movement's going to look real familiar. Maybe you already noticed where I ended up. He sits up, and I decide to get out. Turn my chest down, I come out. But this time I don't put this down over here. I don't even put it down there. Pull it out, put it on this side, knock him over, and ride it up to the top. You ready? Yeah, you can make that sound. So first just get up twice. That should be a good habit you just have. It should be in your game. Especially if your opponents are bigger than you. So I'm pulling down. He sits up. I'm here. I turn chest down, get the foot out. And now I'm here. I'm ready to go. I push off this foot, I push this foot. Maybe a little with the neck. to get him to fall off his face, and we're here. Okay. We don't fight from knees now. Mostly we don't fight from knees in jiu-jitsu classes, but we end up where we're both on our knees. There are times we do. Like he's a turtle, and he pops up because something slid out. That's a moment we end up there. So it has actually served me. I got a concept that's useful when I spent time there. I still tell my students not to hang out there and push battle, but this is up, come out, put this here, knock him over, ride to the top. Do go to a knee on belly, right? And if you're taking it easy on the person, you were just holding neck, just put your fist down. But be in the habit of putting your foot out for a nice finish, okay? Let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, whatever's good. If you guys have any questions, I saw some questions as I went around the room, but I can't get around the whole road, and it's like a bit of an esoteric move, so I know I'm probably the guy to answer the questions. So yeah.
Do you control this with posture, or do you control his arm when you can move?
No, so yeah, and this relates to the good question I got over in this part of the room. I don't see the person right now, which was, if I get up, let's say we're doing the one we just did, I'm holding the neck, he sits up, and I back out, and I put my foot, and he puts his hand out. How do I do this sweep if he puts his hand out? Well, it's already positional improvement, right? Basically, I don't. But, is that a common reaction? Probably not. If you think about what just happened, I was on the bottom. It's going to be surprised that I'm not on the bottom, for one, because I'm out. That's an odd movement. Not everybody like just hops out of guard and gets up. But his reaction is more likely, when I disappear from underneath him, to drive toward me. And when his hips come off his heels, all of this gets easier. Our base is worse when our butt's off our heels than it is good, right? So when he sits up, and I do this. When I disappear, sometimes people push toward me. When his butt comes up, it's sort of the perfect time to do this move. But if you get people, actually, we're going to talk, if I have time at the end, about people who get to know you as a person who uses this move. Then it really does become time to have some answers to people's automatic reactions when they know this is the move you're going to do. And maybe this is one, but we still improved our position. I was under it, now I'm in front of it. So that's my answer for now, but I'll talk about more stuff about people who know your game, if this becomes part of your game at the end. How to be people who know what's okay. But let's go. Is there any other question now on this? Okay, otherwise I just have people getting used to the movement, and that's fine. One thing that I think helps to think about is after I've knocked the person off their base, think of this as a hinge, the shin that's across the person, and that does carry some of the weight. Don't worry about your partner, it's on their abs or hips, bone, skeletal structure. It shouldn't hurt them. But think of this as a hinge. So after I knock the person over, that's the hinge over which the door opens and closes. So think of it as a hinge and really commit to the motion of stepping over. And I see most of you guys are hitting this pretty well. Okay. So let's go back to, now I'm going to get into like the evolution of this move. Shin's cool, but let's go back to butterfly guard. And I'm going to change up one thing about this. It's going to be all the same, entirely the same, so you guys are all going to get it, no problem. The movement's even easier than the shin as a hinge. And that is, I'll be here, I disconnect, and you notice when I disconnect, how far are all of my posts from his feet? About a foot, like all of them are about a foot away from his feet. So if you've been stepping up here, or if you've been here, or in any way close to your guy, think about setting this structure up at a distance from him. I can keep him where he is, just with my upper body being close. From here, right? But basically, I've like disappeared from his proximity here. Now, this time, instead of feeding Pac-Man my shin, I'm just going to change the food to my femur, right? My upper leg. Right? And the good news about that is, if I have to open the mouth, my femur will come around and I'd be on top. The good news about using that is, I don't have to open Pac-Man's mouth at all. There is a hole there. So there's a hole right here. And I can put my knee right in it. So this is what my pass really looks more like now. It's fewer of these, which is a bit of a big circle, and it's much more small circle, because I just shoot my knee through, and I hit him in the hip with my head. Okay. So this time my knee goes in, my hip You notice the angle of my hip. Like I bend at the hip like this. It's totally open, like I'm sliding into a base. So slide this in and ride this over. The weight of my hip is on his hip. So it's bone on bone. And don't immediately switch to side mount. It just relieves pressure. Leave your hip on their hip. This is actually a pretty good place to be. Okay? So same setup, and instead of this, it's this. I'm sliding in. Once I land here, hip bones on hip bones is good. Interlocking hip bones, hip flexors. Let's do a different angle. But otherwise, same movement, same setup, same movement. In here, and I don't have to open anything. I put this in, my hip is on his hip, I ride it through, my hip is still on his hip, my hip is still on his hip. So don't do this and then get up. You're just giving him an escape. Hip on hip is pretty heavy. Let's do it. 3, 2, 1. I'm only, I think, going to repeat myself, but I think it has something to attach to because you have some reps now. But the one thing I want to say is two things. Two things I want to reiterate. One is when you set up your triangle base. What's wrong with my triangle base? Too close. Too close to him. Yeah. Yeah. I want space. I feel like it's like a flux capacitor or something. Anyway, I back away in 3 directions, and I'm like a foot away from all over the place. I'm not close because this. I'll tell you one thing that like doesn't help this pass is him being in contact with my body, my lower body. So I'm trying to say, look, you can have me up here, but the rest of me's running away. By escaping my lower body, I get to re-enter my lower body on my terms because I created space and my lower body is far away from me. So that's 1. And 2, some of you guys are still doing a circle. That's totally fine. If you can hit it, that's totally fine. And more people are going to stop it if you do that. A bigger circle is just a little bit more opportunity for the person to stop you. If you can do this is like a straight line. This is more like a straight line where the other one was the circle. So this one can be the circle, but this one works best against the most people more of the time when you've got the distance you need and you enter in a straight line right here. Boom. Now look at my shoulder, hip, and knee, they're all in a single line. I'm not folded up like this at all, I'm like this. So when I land, I had the question, does this or this matter? No. No, I like Kessa, and I'm doing Kessa attacks Friday, so I would maybe go to Kessa, but this is fine too, and heavier. A little heavier on your hip, right? Okay, so just do a few more. Make sure your setup is big and far. Here are his prayer feet. Now here. Come in with that knee, and just straight line, heavy, and heavy feet either way. So just a few more, okay? Let's do it. 3, 2, 1. The time we just did this is this last one. Everybody was passing, hip pressure is awesome, baseball slides look beautiful. Okay. I'm gonna do this, something very close to this, from a broken guard. So I'm gonna be, let's say I'm in this guard, and I put a knee in the butt and back right, and I open it. Okay. So this is now, like we're gonna do this, something like this from closed guard. It's very close. This is close to this, but I actually teach it under a different name. I think of it as like sort of a cross knee pass. But I'm going to back up. When his knee's open, I'm going to put one knee up, and the other hand I'm going to put down, and I put it down inside. And now I have my backwards pointing triangle. But I have something else, which is like I have, when the joint is at the end of its range, it doesn't move as well, the muscles around it are weaker. So when I get somebody sort of splayed, I have a lot of control here. And they're slow to act and weak. Okay. The idea of coming up to combat base is really common. When I put my hand inside, I get 2 things. I get him spread, like I was saying. End of his range, he's going to be weaker and slower. And then I also have enough space to cut my knee across. Okay? So that's the other reason I like to use those front prongs of that. What's the word for that? Slingshot. Wrist rocket. I actually think slingshot is like this. Anyway, so I put my hand down. My front 2 posts are the same 2 posts I've always had. They're just also spreading the guy's legs. Back this knee up. And with your partner, you have to check in because you don't want to like break them open. So sometimes what you'll have to do is when your knee comes up, they'll be like, no. do not continue, right? Because there's gonna be a little pressure when I put my knee down. So it could be that you have to move your post. I don't recommend it in like, when you're like in tournament or something like that. I would kind of go, but you don't really want to be all the way at the end of the range anyway, because when you put this in, it's going to be hard to straighten your leg and get your hip to look like this. So you need a little play in the moment that you go. So I would have them spread and then back this up, take a little bit of tension off right before you go, so you can just slide right out. Almost the same exact movement. Break this open. This comes up, my hand goes down, and now and I'm not holding his neck at this point. I would say this might not help me at this point. He's already down. So from here, I'm just ready with this hand. I have no other plans for you guys for this hand. This is here. I have some spread going. I'll take the pressure off enough that when I put this through, I want this angle, right? And either this or this. But I want the hip on hip, same thing. Okay, so I break away. In this case, I put my hand inside. This has the legs are spread and the same movement. And now you're past the guard. It's a nice, easy, close proximity pass. Let's try it. 3, 2, 1. The last couple minutes. So I do just want to talk about the expert opponent, and I mean an expert in you. And that could be a white belt, that could be a blue belt. Just someone who knows you really well. So I really like, and I've adopted, and maybe you've noticed, maybe you heard me do it, but I've adopted with my students using the terminology jab and cross like Preet does, because there's really something to it. We can't just always tell them what we're going to do, and if we always do the same thing, it's almost the same thing as telling what we're doing. So if you want to know how I handle when somebody is aware of what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you a couple things. We don't have time for you to rep it as part of class. You can certainly rep it, and you can certainly call me anytime, call me over. You see me at an open mat or another class, and in between classes, I'm really happy to work with you guys on this. I taught it once before at camp, and then like in open mats, people from the class who just did the class once started hitting the pass. It is a really easy pass because it's a single concept. I showed you guys one in a couple of places. All right, so if they know the game, and you're here, let's say butterfly. Let's say butterfly as an example, because this is when I probably use it maybe the most. Okay. So I set this up, and he's like, oh, here's this thing, right? Now, if I go like this, what most people do when they know I'm about to bring my leg around that side is they sort of turn to face that side, okay? So this is the most common thing that I do. So do that. So when I go here, yeah, he turns to face a little bit because he's going to block, intercept with his shins or his forearms. He's just trying to get over there. And when he does that, this is like the fake guard pull to ankle pick kind of situation where you go for one, but you switch your footwork and another one's really easy. That's what this is. So I'm here and I go like this. Boom. And I just walk right? So when you're really good at this pass and people expect it, just know it's part of its own little ecosystem. It's good to have as a jab, but if they know it, there's like an easy couple follow-ups that you can do. So there's two I'm going to address just in the last minute here. And that's this one here, and that's all I did was I changed two things. Yeah. So he's ready. Thank you for that. So when I do this and he turns a little bit, I just put this foot down over here instead, and I pick this elbow. So I go over here. Sorry. A little knee flap. You can take it. All right. So I go here, and as soon as I see him move, I put it back here, hold his elbow, and walk right into the end on the other side. Okay. So please feel free to play with that. We're about to have an open mat too, so like by all means rep it if you like. The other question sometimes I get is, what if there's just like almost no hole here? I have a student who has a big enough like belly, and he's tight enough, and he knows my game well enough that he just shuts the whole area down. So if you put that, yeah. So I used to like, I was thinking about putting either my knee through or my shin on the hip like we did at first. So all I do is I consider this the new hip. And I put my foot here, and I roll over anyway. And if his elbow is like all the way on his knee and somehow there's no hole for my knee, so if your elbow is like, and this is all the way here, I will still consider this the hip, and it's just more of a ride. If it's higher like this, it's just more of a ride. And during the ride, usually your knee just falls right. Okay, but I'm changing almost nothing between all these moves, right? So one concept, many places. Any questions before we do a picture, which I really love to do? Any questions? No. Grab me during open mat, and it's Greg Wood. Add me on Facebook or whatever, and I'm teaching some Kessa attacks on Friday to follow up. So thank you guys so much.